This is Cooking with Grandpa Roy. That's me. I'm Grandpa Roy. Here's my two helpers, Charlie and Jack. Well, you know, this morning it was 30 below zero around here. Too cold to go skiing, too windy. So what do? We end up going sledding. Well, that didn't last long. We were only sledding for about a half hour, and next thing you know, Jack had frostbite, and I had frostbite when I was a young man, and frostbite never goes away. So every time it gets really cold and you're outside, that frostbite comes back. Look at his ear. He's had that now for a year. And when he's my age, he'll still have it. Oh well, that's what happens when you're outside a lot. Okay, so we came back and we decided it's a good night to make soup. So we decided to make a seafood stew. So here's what we have going. I just got the potatoes in here and some onions. And we're going to put into this, once it gets rolling, we have clams, celery, corn, oysters, lobster, chopped clams, shrimp, garlic, some half and half, hot sauce. So as we go along, we're going to just put all this stuff in. We have our potatoes in here cooking. Charlie's going to help me. Here you go, Charlie. Jump in there. Okay, we'll turn it up. First thing we're going to add is the celery. Now we have celery, potatoes, and onions. Boiling away. Not boiling too hard because we don't want to burn it. And let's put a little butter in. There we go. Little butter. Alrighty. Now we have all kinds of fish here. We have, once it gets going, we have cod, turbot, and halibut. You know, one time when I was in Newfoundland, I wrote a story about fresh fish, and I was on a commercial fishing boat, and a boat that net with the nets, and their job was to pull in the nets, take the fish to the mothership, and the mothership would process it. They would clean it, fillet it, trim it, pack it up, and the mothership would go into port up in northeastern Quebec and offload it into trucks, and the trucks would head for Montreal, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Ottawa, Canada. And it was really interesting to see how they work with fish. And believe me, if you want fresh fish, you have to catch it, clean it, and cook it. By the time that fish hit New York and Philadelphia, it was over a week old. But that's the way it is. Okay, here we go. Let's add the corn. I like to put corn in. Ah, good. Now, we're going to put mussels in, but I don't want to put the mussels right in there because the mussels aren't farm raised. The mussels we have are caught in the wild. So we're going to cook them separate. Right in here. Here they are. Look at them. And then we're going to strain them because there's probably a lot of sand and a lot of dirt in there with them. So we'll use some of the juice. Let me get a rag here. How we doing, Charlie? Don't let it burn. Should we turn it down a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. Now, I cooked the clams. We steamed the clams earlier because we don't want to put them in there because they contain sand and maybe a little bit of dirt. But we strained it so we have the clam juice. So now we're going to add the clam juice. Look at that. All right. Now, what are we going to add next? Oh, garlic. Got to get some garlic in there. There we go. And right here, this isn't what you think. I know you think this is marijuana, but this is fine herbs, a mixture of spices. Very good. We'll add them. There we go. Looking good. Okay. Now we have some minced clams. We're going to put in there. That's clams all chopped up. Now let's see, what are we doing next? Whoa! I think those mussels are done. Where's that rag? Let me see. How are we doing in there? Look at that, they're all open. That's all it takes. Just a few minutes. We'll turn them off. I'm going to take them over here. Look at that, Jack. Going to eat one of them? What do they look like? What do they look like to you? Are they yucky? No. No? Okay.
It looks like a rock
All
or
right.
something in it.
I'm not going to save the juice for them. But we'll put them in last. Okay, now this is, I like to say it's lobster, but it's not. It's really surimi. And years ago, of course, in New York, every restaurant in New York years ago was passing this stuff off as lobster thermidor. But there's nothing wrong with surimi. It's all white fish. And it's very tasty. So, and it's gluten-free. We're dumping that in. Okay. One time I was in Seattle, Washington, and there was a big factory ship in that makes surimi, and I got a tour of it. And after seeing how they do that, I thought, boy, there can't be anything wrong with that stuff. Okay, now, over here, we're going to put this in next. This is cod. Cod from New England. We're just going to drop it in like this. And after it cooks for a while, it's going to just break up into smaller pieces. We have 3 pieces of cod. All right. And we have turbot. Look at that, it looks good, doesn't it? I can't call it fresh fish because I know darn well it's been frozen at some point. But it looks good and it tastes good. Okay, chop it up, Charlie, in there and help it to break up. What do you think, Jack? That's looking good, isn't it? Yeah, don't splash it. Okay. Where's our other helper? Where's Dooley today?
Nowhere.
Where's that Dooley boy?
Nowhere.
That's it, just break it up. Okay, now we're gonna put in some Old Bay seasoning. We put in the fine herbs, we put in the garlic, we're gonna put in some Old Bay, and we all know what this stuff is, right?
Yeah.
Gotta put a little of that in. Give it a little bite. Put a little pepper in. Put a little salt.
Put a little pepper.
And believe it or not, we put ketchup in just to give it a little color. There we are. And gotta put a little wine in. There we go, Charlie. And being I have a little wine, I might as well have a little taste myself. Hey, Dorley, come on. Come on, Dorley. Come on over here, old boy. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to put the clams in. That clam juice, of course, came from the clams. We're going to dump it right in there with the shells. What are we missing? Oysters. I don't open oysters anymore. I get them already open because one time I was opening oysters with an oyster knife, and next thing I know, I put that oyster knife right through there and the knife came out here. I ended up going to the hospital. So ever since that day, no more opening oysters. Here, let's make sure it's everything. Okay, here goes the oysters. In there. Now we're rolling right along here. All right, next thing in is going to be the mussels. Come on, Dorley. And we have a little bit of juice. And we have a little Italian parsley. And after that cooks for a while, try not to splash it. After that cooks for a while, we're going to add the shrimp. And then we're going to add half and half and some whole milk. And that'll pretty much be it. All right, I think we're ready for shrimp. This is shrimp with lime juice. Lime juice mixed in with it. This is farm raised, of course. There we go. Mix it in, Charlie. That's it. Always put the shrimp in last because you put it in earlier, you know, it gets real hard. And last thing we're going to put in will be half and half. How are we doing with that? Now let me try. Wow, that's really thick. That is real stew, huh? Look at it. Look at all that stuff in there. Look at the shrimp, see? It didn't take the shrimp long to cook up. Look at it. See? All right, now we're going to add either half and half or cream or whole milk. Ah, boy. What do you think, Charlie?
That's good.
I don't think you have to stir it anymore. I think it just will let it simmer for a while.
Okay.
And I think I'll just have another glass of wine. And I'll ladle some of this out. We'll see how it looks.